Hey guys, welcome back to the second video of this series where we are going to design an Instagram bot using Telegram and some web services. In this video, what we're going to do is we are going to design and develop this part of this application. So we are going to scrape posts from Reddit, develop a scraper service, and then post into a database. Okay, so we'll be developing this application in Node.js. So if you don't know, Node.js is basically a runtime for JavaScript, and you can download it for your machine from nodejs.org, and it's basically just JavaScript running in your server instead of your browser. So let's see how we are going to do that. First of all, I'm going to open Reddit, and we want to go to this subreddit. So now I'm going to inspect this, and we are going to go to the network tab and see what are the network requests that this page makes. So what we exactly need is a JSON response which is containing all these posts. So I want these posts as JSON data, and I know that it is coming because this is a single page application, and it must be sending or making request. So I'll just clear this out and sort it by top. So you can see as soon as I click that, the page changed, and then we made a lot of network requests. So let's see, let's check the headers and see the URL. So the URL currently is gatewayreddit.com desktop API and then subreddits memes. So this is exactly what I want. There are a lot of parameters sent, but you can check the parameters at the bottom. So if I make this a bit bigger, you can see these are the query parameters that we are sending, and this is the top that we clicked. So you can actually see that I clicked top, sort by top, but there are two other ways. One is hot and then the other one is new. So but we basically need this sort by top because we just want to fetch the top post and then we are going to save them into the database. So this is the URL that we need, and I can see that this is a GET request. So okay, I got the URL, and the next step would be to create a script to fetch this and see the response. Also, let's check out the response. So this gives us a lot of data, and then you can see this gives us the account information, author flair, this features, post flair, post IDs. So these are all the IDs of the post on this page or are made during this request, and these are actually the post. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. And if I open any one of these, okay, this seems like a sponsored because it says hosting.com. And yeah, this is a sponsored one. Let's check one of them which has large number of comments like this one. Okay, so where is the post image? I just want the image. There's a media object, and let's open this and see what this is. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. This is the meme content, and then we also want the number of upvotes that it has, which is the score, and exactly here we have it. So it has 44,447. So this is the score which we want, and in the database we are going to sort it by the score and then fetch it one by one. Okay, we are good here. Now the next step would be to create the application, and for that I'm going to use Express. So I'll just go to express.js.com, and Express.js is kind of a web framework on top of Node.js. So as you can see, it says fast, unopinionated, and minimalist web framework for Node.js. It's really fast, and for this part we don't actually need a web framework like Express, but in the future we are going to create a web server anyway. So let's just get started with it. And I like to use this Express generator. What it does is it creates the boilerplate for your Express application so that you can get started very easily. So I'll just do this npm install Express generator. Okay, I need to do a sudo with it. So cool. Now that I have the Express generator installed, I need to create an Express application, but keep in mind that we don't need a view, like we don't need HTML pages support. We are not creating a website, so we don't need a view engine support. So view engine basically means you're going to serve HTML pages from this Express application, but we are just going to create an API and it is going to serve JSON response. So we are going to create Express, and then we are going to select this one which says generate without view engine, and this is exactly what we want. And we are going to use git as well. So our command would look like express dash dash no view, and then we want git, and the name of our application, which is going to be Instagram bot. Let's keep it simple. And then we are going to go to Instagram bot and then do npm install. And now if I do npm bin slash www, I can see that there is a server running. So it doesn't say anything, but if I go to my browser and go to, so this is one of my other computers in this local network, and this terminal that you just saw is me being SSH'd into that host or that machine which is in my local network. It's just an Ubuntu machine. In this Mac, there are actually some problems with package conflicts and all. So I just like to keep my development work in this machine, which I've named Skynet. And yeah, so if I open this, it is the Express server that we just created, and you can see we are getting the requests and we are getting the logs here. So I'll just cancel this out because we don't need that server running for now, and I'm going to open that. And then Instagram bot, this is the folder that we just created, and I'm going to open it. You can see that this is being opened in remote mode, so it says cannot make connection. Let's retry. Great. So it works now. Not sure what happened before. So if I open this app.js file, it contains basically, it imports Express and a lot of other things. So it serves two routes for now. One is index router, and then the other one is users router. So the users router is here. If I go to slash users, which is coming from here, I will see a response. So let me just do this. I think it's user. No. Okay, so we terminated this server. Let me just restart this, and then I'll reload. Cannot get user. It's actually users. Respond with a resource. So this is exactly what we have written in here, but we don't need this. I'm going to delete this permanently. Yes, delete this. And in app.js, I'm going to simply delete this, and I'm also going to delete this since we are not using it. Cool. Now we have our initial setup done. So our Express server is up and running, and let me just start the server in here so that we don't have to switch terminals. So this bin www is this file, which is basically the entry point for our application. So it imports this app.js file, and then some debug information, and then HTTP server. So this is where exactly the HTTP server is created, and then it listens on a port which you can specify in an environment variable. And the Express is kind of like a whole other course in itself. So if you want, I can create a video for it, or you can look up the documentation, and they have some really great documentation. Anyways, if there is something Express related, I'll let you know. Like, I'll guide you through it if there is something that you should know. But for now, everything that came out of Express generator should be good enough. So the server is running, and let's move on to creating that scraper. I'll quickly create a services folder, and I want it at the root. Okay, and in here I want a new folder called reddit.service.js. Okay, and inside this Reddit service, I want to fetch from that URL. So for fetching, I am going to use a different npm package, which is going to be Axios. So Axios is basically a wrapper for making network requests. So you can make any kind of request like get, put, post, and pass on parameters and so on. we can start by doing npm install. I closed the server because we are currently not needing it. I have installed it, and okay, so we are just going to need a get request. So I'll copy this stuff from here. We don't want this then because we don't want a finally block. It's like a finally block, so if you're coming from a Java background, so we don't need that. We'll just start from here, and okay, I'll just make a Reddit URL, and I'll just paste the URL here. So you go to headers, and then we're going to copy this URL. Let's do one thing. Let's check whether this works or not. So I want to sort by top. Yes, we are getting response, so this should be good. I'm just going to copy this whole thing and paste it here. And instead of get, I am going to say Reddit URL, and then on success I'm going to so this response is a response object, and the data, let's just log the response first, and then we'll see if there is an error. We are going to want to log the error. Okay, so this looks good, and we are going to simply remove this comment and save this. Let's try to run this. Looks like we got some data. Great, that is great. But I think we have got some other data as well. So this, I mean, this response variable is actually a response object. So we don't want the whole response object. We just want the data part of it. So one thing I can do is I can do const. Let's check the status. So what the hell happened here? Okay. Status. So I want the status to be response dot status, and then const data is going to be response dot data. I'll just clear this out. Let's run this again. Great, so we are getting the data, and this is a lot of data. Anyways, we already know how the structure looks like, so I'm just going to inspect here, go to network, and then just reload this page again. Since this is a get request, it won't come in XHR, it will come here, go to preview. So I know that what I'm looking for is the posts, and for each post I want the media URL. So this is the media object, and then it has the content. So I want this content. I'll just make this smaller, and then do data dot posts, and actually I want object dot keys, because if you look at the data, it is an object, but then keys are basically the hash values for those posts. So, and these hashes are nothing but the IDs. So these are going to be unique, I'm assuming, and we are going to loop over all of these objects. So we are going to have to use object dot keys, and then it will give us all of these keys as an array, and then we can do dot for each, and then this will give me post ID as an argument, and then I want, for each of these arguments, I want media dot content. So we want the media URL. So media URL is equal to, so post ID, and this is going to be the object, and then this is the key for that, media dot. Now that is done. So what we want now is, let's take care of some error handling, because I'm sure this is going to cause some errors, because it is possible, like this part is fine, this is always going to be present because we are looping over it, but then media might not be present, and then when we do and then this whole thing will become undefined, and then when we do undefined dot content, it is going to throw an error. So let's add a check over here, that we are going to only use this media URL only if this media is present, media object is present, I wanted to say. So this is the media URL I'm getting, and let's just console log media URL. Once again, I'm going to clear this console and run this. Let's go to the bottom. Okay, so yeah, we are getting all of the images links. So let's open one of these and open. Great, this is one of the images that we saw earlier. Great. And one more thing that I have observed is that there were some sponsored posts as well. Like we saw earlier that one of the posts was sponsored. So if we open, I think it was in, yeah, this one, hostinja.com. So let's see how we can eliminate that. So there can be sponsored posts, so there must be something. Yeah, here it is sponsored too. So we don't want to post any sponsored posts from Reddit to Instagram because that would be weird. So we are just going to get this. Let me just remove this console log because we don't need it anymore. And if the post is if the media is present and if the post is not sponsored, so I'm going to copy this dot is sponsored, then only I want to log my URL. Okay, and yeah, this looks good. So let's just run it one more time. We want to do is not sponsored. Not sure why we didn't get sponsored posts, but let's just try to do that one more time. And it's good that we didn't get any sponsored posts. Okay, so yeah, we are getting all the data. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to store this. So I want to store this media URL into the database. Let's see how we can do that. But first, I also want this post's number of upvotes. So let's see. Score is equal to post dot score. I think it was score. Yeah, it is score. Yeah. Let's output that as well for once. So now we are getting all the posts and then the scores. We are going to store this in the database. Let's see how we are going to store it in the database and what kind of database we are going to use. So I have one database in mind which is in memory, and it is also very simple to set up. So that is why we are going to use it. And you can use anything you want. You're not limited to this database. You can use something like Firebase. You can use DynamoDB from AWS, or you can use, not sure what Azure's offering is called. I think it's called Cosmos DB, but you're free to use whatever you want. I'm going to just use this AnyDB simply because it's pretty fast and I don't have to set up and download MongoDB into my local database. So I'm just going to install this, clear the console, and let's install. So while this is installing, let's take a look at how we can create our loader database. There is a great documentation here, so everything is documented here. And then it says that you can use this database as an in-memory or as a persistent data store. So we want to store it, like we want to persist our data storage so that it is stored into our file system. You can go through these and you'll have a better understanding of this database. But for now, I'm just going to skip to one of the use cases or one of the examples that they have provided. Let's read through this. In memory, okay, we don't want this. Persistent data store with manual loading. Okay, so we will supply a path to a file and then it will load a database and then everything will be executed in this callback. Okay. Persistent data store with automatic loading. Interesting. So what this says is, okay, it will automatically load everything and then I can straight away issue commands. So I think this is something which we would want to use. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to create a new file. Let's just call it database.service.js. I'm going to paste this command, and I like to use const for these because I don't want to modify these variables accidentally. Great. And now I would like to have a couple of functions. So for this video, we would only need the insert function. So let's just create that for now. Yeah, module.export. Come on, insert. Sorry, we don't need that semicolon. And in here we are going to import that function. So const database service.js. Great. And what we want to do is we want to create an object and insert from here. So insert, we have the link, which is the media URL. Then we have the score, which is important. So score is simply score, and I think that is enough. This database will automatically give it an ID, so I'll just make it a little bit smaller, and we can delete this console log, and we can remove this to do. So the main part is in here in this database service. This is going to receive an object, or let's just call it a document, and console log this document. So we can see what is going to be inserted, and let's see how we can insert it in this NEDB. Once again, I'm going to use this API documentation, and going here we can see this is a doc, and we simply say db.insert, and then yeah, this seems like very simple. So let's just copy this part from here, and we'll paste it, and we'll make necessary adjustment. Okay, so we want to insert document, and then if there is an error we would like to know. So if there is an error, we would like to console, come on, log that error, and otherwise we would want to return this document. So this document or this insert function is not currently returning anything. I would want it to return a promise. So this is currently returning a callback. I don't want a callback. I want the caller function to know that this document has been inserted. So let's see how we can do that. So you can return a promise from here. So return new promise. Come on. Okay. And in this promise function takes a callback function, which is reject and resolve. So these are two parameters that this callback provides. And then I'm going to move everything into this callback function, and if there is an error, I would like to log that error and then reject this promise. Otherwise, I would like to resolve it with the new document, which is just inserted. So this seems like it should work. I'll remove this console log because we don't need it anymore. And in the Reddit service, I will go here and then I will do then. This will give me a new doc, and I'll simply log this console log new link added. Let's just keep it simple, and I'll just simply print the new doc. Otherwise, I want to catch any exceptions, and I want to catch the exception, and console log there was an error. And you know what, let's just get the error from the database service. So I'll do, instead of logging the error here, I would want the client to handle whatever error that we are getting, so they can do whatever they want with this error. For now, we are going to just log it in the console. So let's see how this works, and let's run this command. So it says there was an error. Interesting. Why was there an error? Okay, it says there was an error, but then we got the document. So I think I made a mistake somewhere. Yeah. So path to data file. I don't think this is what I want. So it has created path to and then data file. And the documents are inserted, but I need to update this. So I want it to store in database and then posts simply. Yeah, I'll just delete this. And let's see if there is an error. I want to reject it. Otherwise, we would like to resolve it. Sounds good. Let's try this one more time. Why does it say there was an error? Hmm. Oh, I see. I made this stupid mistake. So resolve is the first function and then reject is the second parameter. Yeah, that is why it was not working. I'll once again delete this. Delete this permanently. Delete this one permanently. And let's run this. Great. So we are getting new link added. And if we see the database, there's a posts database created. And yeah, these are all the links. But there is a problem. Like if I run this function again, you see those posts were added again. So if I search for this image in this document, there are two instances of it and I only want one. So how we can do that? How can we make sure that link is something that is unique? So let's see the documentation. Since this is a database, there should be something indexing. And it says that it gives a nice speed boost. Yeah, we would like that speed boost, and then can be used to enforce a unique constraint on a field. So yeah, this is what we want. So how can we do that? How can we do ensure that something is unique? Show us the code. Come on. Okay. Yeah, this is what we want. We want our link field to be unique. So let's just copy this. Where do we have to paste this? We have to, I think this should be pasted just after declaring your database. So I'll go to database service and then paste it here. Yeah, and then instead of some field, I want link. I'll delete this, otherwise this will create an error. So delete that. I'll clear the console and let's run it one more time. I see that it has created the database. It has 26 lines for now. Let's run this one more time. Okay, so yeah, this is throwing an error. Can't insert key, which is our link, because it violates the unique constraint. Yeah, this is what we wanted. We don't want to insert it again. So yeah, this is working, and this is a nice error message which says exactly what the problem is. So great. Now we have completed till here. If we go to the diagram, we have completed it till here. And okay, yeah, we missed one thing, that we want to run it every 15 minutes. So let's just do that. In services, I'll create one more service. I'm going to call it scheduler dot service dot js, and in here we want to import that Reddit service. So let's see what we can import from here. We can't import anything because we have not exported anything. So let's just create a quick function. We are going to call it get posts from Reddit. This is going to contain everything we have written till now, and we are going to simply export this function. So module.exports get posts from Reddit, and we are going to import this function in this scheduler service. Okay, so we want to run this function every 15 minutes. So let me just create a variable called interval, and this is going to contain the interval. So in our case, that is going to be 50 into 60 into 1000, which is 15 minutes. So 1000 milliseconds, 60 seconds, and then 15 minutes. And we are going to use a set interval. And what this takes is a callback function. So I like to do this. because this gives me I mean, in my mind it gives me more control over the function. So let me just run this function inside here. I would write a console log here that going to run or going to fetch posts from Reddit. Great. So this will get the post from Reddit, and in here we are going to get the post, and then we are going to insert it in the database as well. So let's just try whether this works or not. I'll clear this, and I'll also clear the database as well. And for running this function, we also need to specify the interval as the second parameter. So I forgot to add that. And let's try to run this. And for now, I'm just going to add 10 seconds as the interval. So 10 seconds into 1000 milliseconds. Let's try to run this. So it will wait for 10 seconds and then call the the Reddit API. Yeah, so you can see going to fetch posts and then new link added. So the function ran after 10 seconds. And then if we wait 10 more seconds, it is going to call again. So this seems to be working because yeah, it cannot insert again because it violates the unique constraint. So this seems to be working. And this video is already quite long. So I'm going to stop it here. So in the next video, we are going to pull one of the posts from this database and then post it to the Telegram group. So the next one is going to be a really cool video, and if you are not subscribed, I would highly recommend that you subscribe. And also, if you like this video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up. It will help the YouTube algorithm and it will show up in more people's feeds. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you guys in the next one.